Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to Esports Mini League 1, the first two races tonight, which take us first to the Australian Grand Prix and then to the Spanish Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box for tonight is Mr. Aidan Carter. Aidan, how are you tonight?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you, Kieran?
I'm not too bad whatsoever. So, it's a brand new night. Mini League 1 is getting underway, hopefully tonight. And if you did miss out on Mini League 2, you can go ahead and watch that after this. I'm watching you after this one. You can go and check it out with the lovely Mr. James Head. Did provide some action, did provide some drama too, so yeah, go ahead and check that out. I won't spoil the results for you just yet, but you can go ahead and look at that now. But Aidan, this is a fingers crossed moment. This is gonna work. Yep. We're gonna have the right amount of people. I'm spectating, so it's all good. So we're good to go. But yeah, obviously it's your first mini league, and how do you feel going towards it?
I'm pretty excited, just based on the previous race. I watched a little bit of the previous race in Mini League 2. Again, no spoilers, but it was a good race to watch, definitely. So hopefully more of the same in this one. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's such a good event to see loads of different teams come together and have fun yet hard racing between them. It's going to be good to see who comes out on top as well. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Well, me too at that point. And just to take you through the teams very, very quickly, of course, if you do want to know them. The drivers get to choose 10 drivers, but only 5 of them can race, so they have a pool of reserves to use. So for ILRT, we've got Jordan, J. Cole, Matt, Lewis, Rafa, Amir, Jarno, Thomas, Cloud and Splinter. For QVR, we have Cohen, Verstappen, Dropia, Baki, Cookie, Campbell, Chill, FC Game Boys, Daka and Juiced. For TTG, we have Toxic, Navy, Honey Badger, Carlsbury, Siege, Vaporon, Calsper and Recon. For Livid, we have Deneen, Yogurt, Calzo, Hugo, Sam, Fruitful, Luke and Ghosts. And for PMP, we have Ginger, Teba Racer, Cass, Lutonian, Fox, Stinner, Try and Catch, Riley Buys, Sectors and V8 Field. So they'll all be battling it out. Well, not all of them, but all of the teams will be battling out for this one as well. And just so you know, for Mini League, we do have the stewards who will be investigating anything after the race. We do have Mr. Andy Campbell as the head steward. We have Benjamin Gilchrist as a secondary steward. And of course, Sondre Sorhag as our third steward. So it's always good when there's an odd number of stewards, because then that way when a decision is made, it can't possibly be drawn. Unless, of course, one of them withdraws from the vote. I don't know honestly why they would do that, but you know, it has happened. You can't fault that one. But we're about to get underway for qualifying. One shot qualifying, 25% race, 2 races tonight. First in the Australian Grand Prix, and the second one will be at the Spanish Grand Prix. So moments away now. In fact, here we go then, on board with Vaporon as he makes his way towards the start finish line and onwards now towards turn 1. Braking hard now in towards turn 1. Watch that curve on the inside. Lovely smooth control through turn 2. That was brilliant and beautiful into the DRS zone. Onwards now towards turn 3. Heavy braking zone here, about 75 metres before the corner. You've got to get the car nice and steered in. Through turn 4 we go, trying to get that curve on the inside to help the car steer in. Heading through turn 5, don't run too wide on the outside curve, it can unsettle the car. Now heading towards turn 6, braking hard now. Watch the curve on the inside and outside as we head through 7. Through now turn 8, it's a long right-hander, but it's full throttle through there. Heading now towards turn 9, watch the sleeping policeman on the inside of the corner. There is a little bit of oversteer there for Vaporon as he crashes out of qualifying. We'll jump quickly on board with Baki then as we make our way now towards the dreaded 11 and 12. Dropping 2 gears here with Baki as he makes his way in through that chicane there. Watch the curve on the left hand side. It can really unsettle the car and spin it around if you're not careful. Heading now towards turn 13, onwards now towards turn 14, using all of that curve on the left hand side, flying through turn 14 again. Watch that curve on the outside and the gravel trap beyond. In towards turn 15 now, slowest part of the track as you now wind your way through in towards that final corner, and around we go on towards the start finish straight. Who will get pole position? Was there any ever doubt? Lewis there will grab the first pole position for the night and puts an ILRT car on pole position.
Brilliant lap from Lewis. I was watching on board with him, actually. Inch perfect almost everywhere. It's amazing to watch him race, honestly. He's so incredibly neat and tidy and 3 tenths clear of the rest of the field. brilliant lap from Lewis.
Absolutely, and the full order is this. Lewis starts on pole position with Hugo in second. Thomas is in third. Kazi? I don't know. I'm going to call him Kaz because that's easier. He's a change in the driver lineup. He starts in P4. Kalsper in 5th. Fruitful there. Another change in the lineup in 6th. Ginger in 7th. Jordan in 8th. Terra Racer 9th with Verstappen rounding out the top 10. It's Cohen 11th. Another Cohen in 12th. J. Cole 13th. Drop your 14th. Deneen in 15th. Cass in 16th. Vaporon, Toxic, Recon and Baki will be starting at the back with Toxic, Recon and Baki invalidating their lap time. So they will be starting 17th, 18th and 19th. Well, we got 2 Cohens, so we're going to have to find a way of differentiating between the two there, Aiden. My best guess, because in the heat of the moment, it's going to be Cohen and Cohen. I guess that's Cohen Bly.
Let's hope they're not.
Cohen Bly. There you go.
Let's hope they're not close to each other on the track, because that's going to be a mouthful if that happens.
It's Cohen battling Cohen in towards turn Cohen. Yeah, it's going to get confusing, isn't it? But yeah. Hopefully you're all ready and looking forward to this one. Make sure you do give your support out there to your favourite teams. Remember that you could have the most dominant driver, win all the races, but at the end of the day, this is a team event and the points are heavily biased to consistency and finishing into, or getting to the checkered flag, I should say. All the points here tonight can be scored as long as you make it to the checkered flag. Even 20th place, if you make it to the checkered flag, you will score that 1 point for your team, and you never know, that point could come right and really in handy towards the end of Mini League. And of course, Aiden, we get to see these lovely liveries once again. And of course, the ILRT one, the striking white, black and yellow livery there. For Livid, of course, they've gone for their white and red livery there with just a hint of black as well. We have got the PMP car, which is the orange and black, already looking like one of my favourite designs out there, purely because orange and black are my lid colours, so no bias there at all. For the TTG cars, they've got that black, grey and red livery there, of course, and I believe if we have a look at the Clean Vigour car, which I believe the first one there is in P10, you can see that eventually you'll see the teal, white and black car there. And of course, a lot of effort goes into designing these liveries alone here, Aiden, and they've all done a fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic job, yeah, but I think I could have to agree with you. That orange and black livery really stands out. It is stunning to look at. I really like that. But yeah, hats off to all the people that designed all the liveries. They look really, really good. So great to see them in action as well. So yeah, really excited for that. Just a note as well on qualifying, TTG had a relatively poor qualifying, 17th, 18th and 19th. So they've got some work to do in this race to make up some points. Yeah, they absolutely have. But Kalsper there up in P5, he'll be the leading TTG car. But 2 of the TTG cars actually invalidated their lap time, so it's going to be even harder for them to get up the field. But was there any doubt for Lewis to put it on pole position by just over 0.4 of a second? This is going to be a good one. Will Lewis run away with it, or can anybody stop him from winning this one as we make our way around the final corner and towards the grid? Here is one of the longer times where the AI takes control. You feel like you're sitting there forever waiting to get to the grid here, but let's have a look and see. Of course, Lewis starting on the left-hand side of the grid here on the racing line, but not the inside for the next corner. The theory being P2 has a worse getaway because it's not the rubbered inside of the track. We'll have to see how these starts pan out then, as we are moments away from the first round of Esports Mini League 1, and as we await those red lights to start coming on, and we are waiting for the start of this race of Esports Mini League 1. It is 5 red lights. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It's a good start from Lewis. It's also a good start from Hugo as well, as he tucks into the slipstream of the ILRT car ahead, piling towards turn 1. That is Kaz up the inside and in towards P3. A great start from him so far, as we now make our way all the way down towards turn 3 in a heavy braking zone here, heavier than turn 1 even. Can they keep it clean through here? We've got a bit of front wing debris coming off one of the cars behind. Didn't quite see who that was, but it was flying up into the air. Ginger, meanwhile, is up a position. He's up to P5, and looking at the back of Thomas here as they make their way in towards turn 7 and 8. Cohen there for Livid is now up a position. He's now ahead of Verstappen and into the top 10. Cohen Bly then for Clean Vigour. Bit of team orders there as he moves to one side and lets him through. But Verstappen there could be on the attack from Deneen, but he manages to hold him off there. That's the thing about team orders, you see. You can let through your teammate behind, but you've got to be careful that you don't let through a rival at the same time. Drop your meanwhile looking down the inside at turn 11 and 12, never going to find his way through there, and he has to back out of that one, but it's not over yet because he's looking down the inside of Deneen there. Deneen has to move left to allow him room. He's up the inside now, in towards the final couple of corners. Through 13 we go, onwards towards 14. He's still on the inside there, trying to make a battle of this. He can't quite do it there. In towards turn 15 we go, still on the outside. He'll have the inside as Verstappen comes into the pits then. Lewis sets the fastest lap of the race, and Dropia gets the move done. He persisted and he got that move done eventually, but at the end of the first lap, Lewis leads from Hugo. It's Kaz in third, Thomas fourth, Ginger fifth, with Kalsper in sixth, Fruitful seventh, Jordan eighth, Terror Racer ninth, and Cohen for Livid in P10. Then it's Cohen Bly for QVR in 11th, Dropia 12th, with Deneen, Cass, Baki, Vaporon, J. Cole, Toxic, Verstappen and Recon all following behind. A great start, I have to say, albeit with a couple of front wings damaged.
Yeah, a couple of front wings damaged. That was Verstappen's front wing that went up in the air. Was on board with Verstappen at the time. He just unfortunately ran straight into the back of the car in front of him. I think just outbraked himself slightly. And I think Toxic might have done the same a bit further down the field as well. And speaking of Toxic, he's actually just made a mistake through turn 2. He just keeps it out of the wall. So very lucky to get away with that one. But fingers crossed for them, they can get back in the running whilst everyone else pits later on in the race. But look at Louis, really the second clear.
Yeah, oh, Kalsper's lost the back end. He's into the wall on the exit of turn 12 on that outside curve. It is so easy to do, and unfortunately that is our first retirement and really TTG's best chance of a really good finish. But unfortunately Kalsper's first race ends in the tyre wall there, so we are a car lighter in the field. Then Lewis leading the way onto the third lap of this race. Then DRS will now be online, a 1:23.0 from Lewis then as he sets the fastest lap of the race. Of course he is. He's at the front of the field with no traffic whatsoever. Of course he's going to set the fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile then, our worst dreams, Aiden, have been realised. The two Cohens are battling out. Cohen for Livid and Cohen for QVR, then making their way towards turn 3. The QVR car has a think about moving down the inside, but even with that DRS, he just couldn't quite get that move done. What have you seen, Aiden?
Well, Cohen just in front had a massive moment on the exit of turn 3, really well held. But a good shout out to LR Cohen, Livid Racing's Cohen, starting on the mediums high, started 11th up to 9th already, so he's had a good start. Maybe he can use that alternate strategy to advantage, but he's starting to hold up the two behind him at the moment. Dropja's caught up to these two as well.
Yeah, Dropja as well, we have to point out, he is part of the QVR team, but he seems like he's running a testing livery at this moment in time. A little bit different from the rest, but he is a QVR car.
Jordan on the back of Fruitful for P5.
Let's have a ride on board with Jordan then, as he's got the DRS now on the back of the Livid car as we make our way onwards towards turn 13, but just a little bit too far back then to try the move there. Meanwhile, the two Cohens battling now in towards turn 13. The QVR car is around the outside there, and there was nowhere for him to go. Now Dropja's got the position up in towards turn 14. That's a swap of positions between teammates there. Well, that could have ended a lot worse than it did. Meanwhile, then Dropja and Cohen for the QVR cars come into the pits. Of course, a 25% race. These pit stops come at you thick and fast, no matter what tyres you're on. Jordan, meanwhile, Jordan on the back of Fruitful. As you say, Aiden, take it away.
Yeah, Jordan on the back, Fruitful going for the outside. Is he going to be able to get the exit at the corner? No, he's braking a little bit earlier. Fruitful really late on the brakes. Manages to hold the outside line as well. Oh, Jordan slightly into the back of Fruitful at turn 3. But just holds onto the back, holds onto that one. Yeah, Jordan starting to get a little bit held up as the top 4 are starting to disappear off into the distance at the moment. Obviously, Fruitful was behind Kalsper. Oh, my word. Jordan, at the moment, looks so much faster than Fruitful, but Australia is such a hard track to overtake, Randy. He hasn't really found the gap yet. Is he going to go for him on the exit at turn 10 down towards turn 11? Doesn't quite have the run on him, so it's going to have to be in the DRS zone after turn 12. See if we can keep that move going. Obviously, no move into turn 11, not really an overtaking zone unless it already passed before the corner. And Fruitful a lot more confident through the chicane than Jordan. That's put Jordan on the back foot once again. So Jordan not able to keep close enough to Fruitful to make the move down into the next corner. Noticing Thomas as well on the back of Kaz. I'm just going to call Kaz as well. Thomas on the back of Kaz for P3, who's also closing in on Hugo for P2. Does any of the top drivers pit? Yep, Hugo's the first one in. So Livid Racing's Hugo is the first of the top 4 to pit, as is Fruitful. He's also in for Livid Racing as well. So Hugo actually gets a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which is really unfortunate. Is Thomas going to be able to have a go on Kaz for P2 on the road? He gets a little bit of a poor exit around turn 2, and that saves Kaz down the next straight. But yeah, the top, Lewis once again starting to get away from the pack, obviously after Hugo's pit stop, but the top 3 look to be the fastest ones at the moment. Now Jordan's in a bit freer, though. Can he catch up to the people in front? other than that, not many battles happening at the moment. There's a few people, Caschi and Vaporon relatively close to each other, and Baki as well, in the middle of that. But apart from that, it's starting to spread out a little bit whilst everyone's making their first pit stops.
Yeah, I just realised we've got a Cohen and a Cohen, and we've got a Kaz and a Kaz. So this should be pretty interesting stream. So let's see how that all goes down. Anyway, as you say there, Vaporon trying to chase down Baki then. And remember, Baki, I think, started from 20th place on the grid on the medium tyres. He has had a fantastic start so far, and he's right on the back of Cass here. Of course, the front runners on the soft tyres are yet to pit, as Baki is almost the lead medium tyre runner at this moment in time as we make our way through turn 12. Again, just doesn't quite have the grip. That could send Vaporon on a little bit of a charge here, but again, he's just a little bit too far back here. Of course, this is a PMP car against a QVR car against a TTG car, so it's looking pretty good here for these three teams, but they'll just be hoping that they all three cars can be the one that gets ahead. And as I say, that Cass comes into the pits then to change off of his soft tyres. Meanwhile then, Thomas and Terror Racer are the only ones out there now who started on the soft tyres that are continuing their stint. So I wonder if they're quite confident on the soft tyres, but they'll start finding right about now that they can fall off a cliff. Vaporon here with Baki having no one ahead of him. He's got no slipstream. He still has the DRS though. Meanwhile, J. Cole and Lewis here. Well, Lewis has made a stop. J. Cole has not. And I wonder if J. Cole, I think he very wisely there backs out of any move. Meanwhile, though, Fruitful and Jordan battling away in towards turn 3. Fruitful tries to go up the inside, but he outbraked himself, couldn't slow down in time, and Jordan takes that position back. And Fruitful takes a little bit out of his tyres with a move like that. Just tried it, didn't work, and he'll have to try again. Hugo, meanwhile, on the back of J. Cole then, making our way on towards turn 9 here. No way through for Hugo so far, but a little bit of a lock up there from J. Cole on entry to turn 9. Didn't quite work out this time around, but Hugo's right on the back of him as we head through turn 11 and 12. Now this is a perilous scenario. You've got the dirty air here, and the aero can be instantly lost. Oh, J. Cole's lost the back end, but he just about kept that in check, but Hugo will simply fly past. And it's Cohen for the living car has spun around.
Yeah. LR Cohen, who's on the alternate strategy, the lead medium runner on the alternate strategy at the time, has spun. Coming out of, I believe, turn 13, he may have spun, and he's got front wing damage by the looks of things as well, which is really unfortunate. That's put him right on the back foot. He's going to be way too early on those soft tyres. Is he going to be able to take those to the end of the race or not, as both Thomas and Terror Racer are the last ones to come in from the softs, and they're back out into the race. Let's see where they feed into this traffic.
Vaporon, meanwhile, on the left-hand side of Baki, then in towards turn 3. Baki shuts the door, no way through for Vaporon. That is, for right now, the lead of this race, but they are both yet to stop in this race so far.
Terror Racer comes out in 10th place, just ahead of Jotcha and QVR Cohen. Jotcha's going to go for the outside into turn 3. Is he going to be able to pull it off? No, Terror Racer squeezes him on the curb. And Jotcha's still down the inside. Oh, and there's a little bit of a slide, and Cohen's caught out by that as well. And Cohen's spun on the curb. Oh, and he's caught Ginger out in that as well. It's another retirement. Such a shame for Cohen. Just caught on the outside sausage curb, beached the car, and over-rotated on the exit of the corner. That's such a shame. Fortunately for Terror Racer and Jotcha, they're both still going, but that's such a shame for Cohen, who looked on for a good result in the top 10.
Yeah, Cohen, who just had nothing to do with that battle whatsoever, just found himself on the wrong end of that receiving end. So unfortunate for him, but that is a QVR car out of the race. So Verstappen, meanwhile, moves ahead of Ginger there. Ginger hasn't got a front wing, I believe. Yeah, it's like a T-train.
Yeah, he's missing massive amounts of front aero damage. Obviously, he got caught up in that incident as well with Cohen spinning across the track. Such a shame for Ginger as well, so he's going to have to make another pit stop, and that's going to drop him to the back of the field.
Yeah, he's just got to remember, though, to keep
and Deneen's off the road as well. Deneen runs into the gravel as well at turn 14, I believe, so he's made a mistake as well, which is really unfortunate. It's dropped him behind PMP Cass. As Vaporon's down into the pit lane. Where does he come out? He's the first. He's pitted very early for those softs, I think. He's pitted midway through the race, which is a little bit earlier than I expected, but he's come out just ahead of Deneen, so that's cost Deneen another place, that mistake.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Meanwhile, Jake up there, who has yet to stop, simply let Thomas and Jordan, his teammates, through there so that they can have a go at Kaz up ahead, the leading PMP car at this moment in time, making their way towards turn 9. And that's not something you want to see in the mirrors. 3 ILRT cars. It's bad enough having one of them behind you, but 3 of them chasing you down. Well, Kaz is going to have nerves of steel so far. He's handling that pressure really well so far. He did get the undercut on Thomas before. How about Jordan, though? He might have a go at Thomas here, will he? Thomas moves to the right-hand side. I think he's going to let Jordan through, is he? Yes, he is. So he now says it's your turn to have a go.
Yeah, so Jordan undercut. Who was it that he undercut in the pit stops? He was racing Fruitful, I believe, before the pit stops. The overcut Fruitful actually stayed out a lap longer and overcut him. So Jordan has really good underlying pace. Maybe he's the better of the ILRT cars to have a go at Kaz for a net P3 at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, Lewis, once those pit stops are over now, takes back the lead of the race by 2.2 seconds ahead of Hugo now. Meanwhile, though, Fruitful and J-Cole having a battle here as Fruitful gets the move done in towards turn 1 and moves up to 6th place. J-Cole is down to 7th place, and of course he has to stop again to put on a set of soft tyres. He did start on those sets of mediums. Looking around here, Baki in P12 has rejoined into 12th place. Here is Verstappen, though, for the QVR car. Up the inside, he will go, takes his dominance there, asserts his dominance through turn 3, takes no prisoners and takes P13 away. And of course, every position here matters. As you can see, Cohen for QVR and Kalsper for TTG will not be scoring any points this race for their team, as Lewis there picks up a 3-second time penalty. That might hand a lifeline to Hugo, but unfortunately Hugo has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So the next beneficiary could be Kaz. Can he take advantage?
Let's have a look, shall we? I'll have a double check in the race director to see how Kaz is doing. Let's see, Kaz only has the 1 warning, so at the moment Kaz, he's too far behind Louis to capitalise on that 3-second penalty, but he will pass Hugo at this point for P2. Can he hold on to P3 over Jordan? No, Jordan's not really been able to catch Kaz since he's passed his teammate. So I wonder if Kaz has just got enough speed to keep that P3 at the moment, as J. Cole's finally into the pit lane. He's the last of the people to make their final pit, to make their pit stop. See where he comes out. It's going to be relatively near the back of the field, but obviously on much fresher soft tyres. See what he can do at the end of the race.
Baki making a move on Kaz here, down the main straight, onwards towards turn 1 with a little bit of DRS, and gets that move done into turn 1. And unfortunately for Kaz there, he will not get DRS because there's only one activation, or one detection point I should say, covering 2 straights. It's not like other tracks where if you get past you get another chance down the main straight. No, it's one of those tracks where if you get the move done, you get the advantage then to pull away even more from that position. But Vaporon, meanwhile...
Kaz! Oof. Sorry to butt in, but PMP Kaz had a massive moment through turn 10. Well held from Kaz, but that's put Jordan right on the back of him now into turn 11 and 12. Is Jordan going to be able to make the move down into turn 13? He's got a good run on him. Let's see if he can go to the inside, or does Kaz fend it off? He does. Let's see, as back is left the session, unfortunately. Jordan around the outside. Is he going to pull that off? Oh, they're still there. Kaz is still side by side. They're still side by side through the next corner. Jordan's going to have the inside line, though, for the penultimate corner. Kaz, though, holds it around the outside. Brilliant driving from these two. Wow, it's giving each other just enough space. Kaz somehow holds onto the place and gets DRS from it as well. So brilliant defending from Kaz to keep P3, but that's put Thomas on the back of them as well. And Jordan doesn't have the straight line speed to repass Kaz down the straight. So brilliant defending from Kaz to keep P3. Oh, Jordan really sideways through turn 2. Well held as well. Let's see if he can go for a late move. Yeah, see if he can go for a late move in turn 3. He's not quite close enough. Well defended from Kaz. Brilliant driving from the pair of them as well to keep that side by side for so long.
Absolutely, and down the main straight, actually, both Kaz and Jordan did not have DRS. They both didn't open that flap. The one who did, though, was Thomas, but he held back, knowing that Jordan has a good chance. He didn't want to get in the way of that one. Meanwhile, then, Vaporon has got a move done on Dropia then, but I doubt Dropia will take that line down as we make our way in towards turn 7 there, but I just don't think he's got the grip there. Vaporon now moves up to 8th place, as I believe he is the lead TTG car at this moment in time in P8, and Ginger is now out. He's retired in the pit lane and will be taking no further part. That means then he will not score any points for PMP, and that's not what they need. They need to take advantage of other teams not making it to the checkered flag. Meanwhile then, rejoining with another PMP car of Kaz as we make our way in towards the final 2 corners through turn 15, onwards towards turn 16. Jordan this time will definitely have some DRS down the main straight, which means he'll have the DRS up towards turn 3. That yellow flag turns to a green flag. Jordan is allowed to go for the move just before the yellow flag. Has he got the move done? Oh, Kaz is onto the grass there as we make our way through. But he has been passed. Now Thomas here trying to go around the outside at turn 3 here, trying to make the move stick. I think that PMP car, yep, he's going to take the line, and Thomas saw that one coming. I think Kaz is a little bit fired up, especially after that move. He does not want to concede 2 positions.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a little bit on the edge from Jordan. Really forced Kaz wide in turn 2, but still great move from him, and good for ILRT. 2 cars on the podium. Great start from them so far. And another one in 5th, so they've got a really, really good start to this mini league for them.
Well, don't forget
further
as well.
down the field.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, just to butt in. A bit further down the field, Verstappen and Toxic have caught Cass G really, really quickly for P10 at the moment. Verstappen and Toxic obviously pitting on the very first lap for front wing damage. They've had a good recovery so far. Can they pass the PMP man and get further up the points before Elar Cohen catches them? Obviously, he's on the softer tyre, so he's going to have the pace. Deneen's been passed by Cohen, I believe, at some point. He's let his teammate through. So let's see if Verstappen can make the move on Cass. He's a little bit compromised through turn 12. He's not going to get the run. Toxic's too far back to make anything stick as well. So I think Cass is going to keep P10 for the time being.
Well then, Thomas making our way down towards turn 1. He's trying to chase down Kaz here, but Kaz still has the DRS from Jordan up ahead as we head through turn 1 here, onwards towards turn 2. Remember, although Lewis has a 3-second time penalty, will be relatively unaffected. Hugo has a 5-second time penalty. Well, he has a stop go. If he doesn't serve it during the race, he has to have it added on to the end of his race for speeding in the pit lane. So at the moment, Jordan, Kaz and Thomas are all going to take advantage of that one, as they're all within that 5-second window. So Hugo could really drop down the order if he's not careful. That'll hand valuable points to ILRT, who will be locking out, I think, 3 of the top 4 places at this moment in time.
Yeah, brilliant start from ILRT. They've had an amazing start so far. Unfortunately, J. Cole's not had quite the same race, but still a great start for them. Still, Verstappen stuck behind Casso, wasn't able to make the move into turn 1 or turn 3. He's got really good pace on him, but he's just not able to make the move stick on those older tyres.
Yeah, I mean, Verstappen's got to be careful on those 11-lap-old medium tyres. They might be able to get into the end. They should be able to. But here we go. Then here's a move down towards turn 11. Surely not down the inside, in towards 11. He'll be on the outside for 12. Quickly realised there that move wasn't going to happen. But he's now got DRS on Cass as we make our way towards turn 13. He goes around the outside. Cass does his best to defend the inside line, but he can only defend so much. And Verstappen finally gets that way past with a little bit of help from DRS into turn 13.
That was kind of smart from Verstappen to stick it down the inside of turn 11. That put Cass off and gave him a poor exit onto the straight, and that's allowed Verstappen through with relative ease at the moment. Let's see if Toxic can do the same and pass and follow Verstappen.
Well, he's going to have to do it down the main straight, though, in towards turn 1. Cass is able to hold on because he's got the DRS. He'll have the DRS on towards turn 3 as well, but Toxic is hounding him here. It's quite bizarre. 4-lap difference between the 2 tyres here, but look at Toxic go down the inside into turn 3, but he's misjudged it. He has misjudged it there and run into the side of Cass, and Cass will not be happy with that one. Toxic will try and carry on and try and chase down Verstappen, but yeah, I think he overcooked it on the braking zone there.
Yeah, that was a little bit too late. That was a day late and a dollar short there from Toxic, and that's really put Cass on the back foot because Cohen's now through and Cohen's already on the back of Toxic. So that's going to possibly gift Cohen a few places because of that. Recon sets the fastest lap. Toxic lets Cohen through. Unless Toxic made a mistake, I think he might have just let Cohen through maybe. He might be trying to let Cass through as well. He is. He's let Cass through. Good sportsmanship from Toxic, but unfortunately that's going to cost TTG a few places and a few more points, which is such a shame for them.
It is, yes, but Cass has also lost a position as well to Cohen. I mean, I think Cohen's counting his blessings at the moment. Up into P11 he goes on the soft tyres. He's able to try and chase down the cars ahead. But meanwhile then, Lewis, as he heads towards turn 3, has just started the final lap of the first round of Esports Mini League 1. He's now making his way onwards towards turn 5. A pretty much faultless drive apart from that 3-second time penalty. All eyes will be on Hugo then, because those 3 cars in the distance for P3, P4 and P5 are looking to take advantage of Hugo's 5-second slap on the wrist as he makes his way now in towards the next couple of corners here. Lewis at this moment in time making his way through turn 10, so we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Jordan meanwhile is trying to hold back Kaz at this moment in time. Maybe a little bit of teamwork as well as Thomas wants to get this move done. He's only got half a lap to do it now. Can he find that way past for that top 3 position here? This could be a chance for ILRT in the first round of this one as Kaz picks up a 3-second time penalty. That might have just handed them a lifeline here. We could see an all ILRT podium, but let's see how it all pans out. In towards the final 2 corners, we ride on board with Lewis as he makes his way around turn 16 and onwards towards that start-finish line. The checkered flag is so far away, but Lewis takes the first round and wins the Australian Grand Prix. Hugo comes across the line in second place, but where will that put him down to? Jordan into second place, Hugo third, Kaz fourth, and Thomas in fifth. Fruitful then will cross the line. He will come across in 6th place with Terror Racer for PMP in 6th now as he jumps Fruitful on penalties. Vaporon will finish in 8th. He's now jumped by Dropia. Verstappen then will come across the line. He will finish in P10 with Cohen in P11. Toxic and Cass and Deneen almost in formation towards the line. Cass in P11, Deneen in P12 and Cohen in P13. With J. Cole there finishing down in 14th place. Toxic in 15th with Baki there making his way around the final corner in 16th place. Just maybe let those medium tyres stint run just a little bit too long. The same for J. Cole as well. And Recon will get to the checkered flag and finish in P17. But remember, those 17 finishers have just scored valuable points for each of their respective teams. But the person who scored the most amount of points for his team today, another dominant display from Lewis for ILRT.
Absolutely brilliant from Lewis. Utterly dominant performance. Looked absolutely in no doubt since qualifying happened. There was no doubt that Lewis was going to win that race. Perfect race from him, apart from the penalty, but still had enough pace to build enough of a gap for that to not really affect his race at all. So great result for him and for ILRT. 2 on the podium in the first race. That's put them off to a great start.
Absolutely, and in a point system that rewards consistency, if they're on the podium consistently, they're going to be doing just fine here in Esports Mini League 1, and once again asserting their dominance from the get-go. And the question remains, can anybody stop them from winning back-to-back Esports Mini League 1s? But your official, unofficial results for the Australian Grand Prix and the opening round of the Esports Mini League 1, it is Lewis who takes the first win, with Jordan in second place, Hugo in third, with Kaz in fourth, missing out by just 0.8 of a second. Thomas in 5th with Terror Racer 6th. Fruitful in 7th, and Dropia in 8th. Vapor on 9th, and Verstappen rounds out the top 10. It's Cass 11th, Deneen in 12th, Cohen for Livid in 13th, J. Cole in 14th, Toxic 15th, Baki in 16th, Recon the last of the point scorers in P17, Ginger, Cohen for QVR, and Calsper all retiring there. So ILRT, the only team, I think. Oh no, there's another team. I'm trying to think now. No, TTG didn't get a car to the line. All 4 of them to the line. Yeah, there are 5 teams, aren't there? I just can't think right now. I wanted to come up with a really good stat there. It was Livid. That's it, Livid. And ILRT, the teams to get all 4 cars to the checkered flag. That means both of those teams will be scoring 4 sets of points, basically. And if you don't know now, P1 to P20 in Esports Mini League 1, so long as you make it to the checkered flag, are all point scoring positions. So ignore this point scoring table you can see on the screen right now. There are alternate points which we will try and keep you up to date with. Unfortunately, I'm not really good at quick maths. Someone else is, and hopefully they'll be delivering the provisional results for round 1 in the chat below. So keep an eye on that, and we'll tell you if you're not looking at the chat. If you like to watch YouTube on your phone in the landscape mode and you don't want that chat, then we'll just tell you when it comes in. But Aiden, pretty good racing actually to say for the first round. We go to Spain next.
Yeah, really good racing. Considering the track that we just raced at, Australia is not the easiest track to overtake on. Really, really good racing throughout the field, and good sportsmanship as well. When there were certain elements that weren't so clean, there were still people giving up positions and letting people through. So great sportsmanship all round as well from that race. And it's really exciting to see such a real mix of drivers moving up and down the field. It wasn't a procession. It was a real... It really fluctuated the result in that race. It went up and down throughout, so hopefully more of the same here at Spain.
Absolutely, and don't forget, we are still going ahead with the second race. We have one more race here tonight just to treat you at the Spanish Grand Prix, and it's heralded as a bit of a dud track by some of these drivers, but if you practice and test at this track for pre-season, then chances are you're going to know a lot about this track when you get to the race. I think it's got an unfair reputation. The cars here have to be balanced. You have to have a car that's good down the long straights. In fact, the start-finish straight here used to be one of the longest on the calendar, believe it or not, and you have to have a car that's really good through the mid-speed corners as well. So it's not easy to set this car up perfectly. You have to have a compromise at least somewhere.
Yeah, I was exactly going to say that. This is the track for a compromise setup. You've really got to suffer somewhere and gain somewhere else. It's one of those tracks it's a real mix. All three sectors offer something different, so it's really difficult to get the perfect setup. And I've got to put my hand up and say that to drive, this is one of my favourite tracks to drive. I think it has a bit of an unfair reputation myself as well. A lot of people struggle with this track or don't necessarily enjoy it. I absolutely love this track to drive, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and I think we all are as well. Make sure as well you are subscribing to TTTV. Remember, rounds 3 and 4, which are Mexico and Britain, will be next week, where we will wrap up Esports Mini League 1. We'll have to see how it all goes out and how it all pans out towards the end there. So we have the provisional results from the first round. Of course, we have to say provisional because there are a stewarding team that will look at any instance after tonight's events. But at the moment, ILRT are leading on 70 points. Livid are in second on 51. PMP are third with 43. QVR in fourth on 29. And TTG in fifth on 22 points. And if I'm not mistaken, Aidan, there is a chance that fifth place team at the end of it all could be relegated to League 2. And the winner of League 2 so often is promoted up to League 1.
Yeah, and that would mean two TTG teams both in the same mini league. It's a real battle to not be last. At least TTG are not far off. Despite having a relatively lowly race, they're still not far off of P4 and P3 for that matter as well. So one good race here at Spain or next week could really shoot them up the order again. So it's a case of, like you say, being consistent. So hopefully they're at the front more often in this race now as well.
Absolutely. So we're getting ready then for the second one-shot qualifying of the night, and we've only got one more driver to get their setup on the car, and we will be going underway. And this time we're riding on board with Thomas then, as he makes his way, barrels his way down towards turn 1. It's a long straight that delineates in altitude here, making our way in towards turn 1, catching that curve on the inside. Same for turn 2 as well, and then the long turn 3, where so often you have to lift through here. Not with these cars. Look at that, using all of that green on the left-hand side to open up the corner as much as possible. End of sector 1 and into turn 4. Just darting in the car there as we now make our way over that crest, down now towards turn 5. Easy to lock a brake here in towards turn 5, and now onwards there. Use that curve on the right hand side as we head through the slight kink of sinks, and then onwards towards turn 7. Up the hill you go then towards turn 8. The car does not like that change of direction. Up now the hill as we head towards turn 9, onwards towards that curve there. Very easy to get it wrong if you're too close to the gravel trap. Short run now down towards turn 10, braking at the 100-metre board at the slowest part of the track then. Watch out for the wheel spin here, and again use that green on the left hand side through 11 and through turn 12. A mid-speed corner here, very misleading there. You've got to be patient on the throttle. Heading now in towards turn 13. What's the sleeping policeman on the inside? Now into the chicane of turn 14 and 15. Attack turn 15 here. Use that curve on the outside to open it up. Then through turn 16 as we make our way now onwards towards that start finish straight. And once again, Lewis pipping for pole position there by just under 1/100th of a second, but that's all he needs to grab his second pole position. Brilliant lap again, once again from Lewis. How can you ever doubt that Lewis is going to be on pole? Brilliant stuff. 3/10 clear once again. Another dominant performance. And Hugo once again at the front in P2. So both of them qualifying expos, it seems. Really good performance from them. But a number of people improving on their qualifying from last time out, notably TTG are a lot higher up in the field. We've got Recon and Toxic, who obviously invalidated last time out, now in the top 10. So that's bumped a few people down who were a bit further up in the order last time. And Fruitful, unfortunately, who was in the top 10 for the majority of the previous race, the only one to be disqualified from the session. Yeah, absolutely. So he will have to start from the back of the grid. And for J. Cole, not a great qualifying session for him. He starts P19, whilst his teammate, on the other hand, will start on pole position. So it's going to be an interesting one. If you've got an ILRT at the front of the pack and at the rear of the pack, well, it offers an opportunity and a lifeline for the other teams around them to take full advantage. But who will be able to take that advantage as we head towards the race? Let's have a look and find out. Well, Aiden, I have to come to you for a prediction. I think I know who you're going to say, but who is your prediction for the race win?
I mean, you can't really bet against Lewis taking another dominant win, really. He's on another level at the moment. He's really one of the best players to watch in this game. He's really, really good. So I think he's going to come home for the win. I think Hugo will probably come home for second, just based on the performance that he's shown in the previous race and in this race as well. I think third place, I'm going to go for, I think Jordan again. I think we might have another double ILRT podium 2 races in a row, just based on the previous race and the qualifying we've had. But hopefully, fingers crossed for an interesting race, and obviously the run down to turn 1 could really shake up the order.
17 laps here at the Circuit de Catalunya as we now make our way down that long straight towards turn 1. And of course, the Spanish Grand Prix. We first came here in 1991, circuit length of 4.655 kilometers, and if you want to work out 25% of 307.104, then absolutely be my guest. I'm not that good at quick maths. It's around 76 to 77 kilometers. I'll just call it that because that's really all I can say. Lap record back in 2018. I'm not sure about 2019 if it was broken, but Daniel Ricciardo held that fastest lap of the race, 118.4. Well, I have to say, it's an interesting track. It's one that rewards the perfect setup. This is one of those tracks where you need that perfect setup, the perfect compromise between straight line speed and mid-speed cornering, perfectly poised on the chassis and on the aerodynamics, Aidan.
Absolutely, as we were saying earlier on, this is a real track for compromise, and fingers crossed everyone's got the perfect setup so that they can perform at their absolute best. But we'll be able to see on the first lap where exactly people are gaining and losing, whether people have gone for a higher speed setup, just for the straight line, which maybe make people far more difficult to overtake in the race, but may suffer in the mid part of the lap, or whether people have done the opposite and gone for something that's much stronger in the middle part of the lap, but may leave them vulnerable down the straights.
Well, we shall wait and see. Of course, the top 10, normal rules apply. They have to start on the tyre they qualified on. Meanwhile, outside the top 10, you've got Kaz on soft tyres, Baki on mediums, so is Cohen Bly for QVR. Dropia, Cass, G for PMP, Terror Racer and Deneen all starting on the soft tyres. Meanwhile, Cohen for Livid, Jaco and Fruitful at the back of the pack will be starting on a set of the medium tyres. But as we make our way now on towards the grid, once again Lewis starting on the left-hand side of the grid, but that is where the rubber, in theory, should be, because it is the racing line as we wait for Fruitful to take his place on the grid. We are moments away from the Spanish Grand Prix here in Esports Mini League 1 for the second round of the series, and we now await those red lights to signal the start of this race. Let's see what it's going to be like down towards turn 1. Those red lights are coming on now. It is 5 red lights. We are underway, and what are the starts like? Again, a good start from Lewis. Watch out for Kalsper then as he gets a good start as well. Lewis feels the need to defend in towards turn 1 from Hugo. Heading now down towards turn 1. You can see there's a PMP car trying to get a move on a TTG car. Didn't quite work out that time around as we now make our way through. Does everybody get through clearly? No! There's contact in the background. Who is that there? I don't know. I saw an ILT car. It's Thomas. Thomas is around there at turns 2 and 3. Oh my goodness, that was a huge start there. I'm not quite sure. It was just out of camera range for the camera we were on. Oh, we got a Livid car off in the background as well, heading out there. That's Fruitful, who's had a moment just out of turn 4 there. Not very good from him, but he's managed to rejoin back there in 19th place. He did start from the back of the grid, so all is not lost so far. Meanwhile then, Deneen for the other Livid car, or one of the other Livid cars I should say, moves up to P15 as he gets a move there on J-Cal, now making our way down towards turn 10, but there is Lewis there, 1.1 seconds clear of Kalsper, who has made his way past Hugo. In fact, so has Jordan there. Cass and Baki, meanwhile, in towards turn 13 now. You got Baki on the outside line on those medium tyres, just can't have the grip there, not quite the grip around the outside there to get that move done and unfortunately for him, he has to stay behind. But now making our way, attacking 15 through turn 16, they all go. Such a lovely array of colours there from all of the liveries as we make our way down that start from the straight. And at the end of it, Lewis is in first place with Kalsper in second, Jordan third with Hugo in P4. Then it's Ginger in fifth, Toxic sixth with Recon in seventh, Dropia in eighth, Vapor in ninth, and Cohen Bly rounds out the top 10. It's Cass, Baki, Terror Racer, Kaz, J. Cole, Deneen, Verstappen, Fruitful Thomas, and Cohen for Livid in the pit lane. Well, Aiden, talk us through that hectic first lap that involved not only an ILT car but an Livid racing car as well.
Absolutely chaotic start a little bit in turn 2. There was a little bit of contact, I believe, between Kalsper and Hugo at turn 2, and that caught Hugo out. He got a little bit sideways through turn 2, and Jordan got caught on the outside, and that's how Kalsper and Jordan got through on Hugo at turn 2. I think in the Constantina behind as well, I believe that Thomas was spun around by QVR for Verstappen, so that's where that's coming. It was at least one of the Clean Vigor racing cars that was into the back of him, but it was all Jordan's made a mistake at the hairpin. Hugo's all over the back of him.
Yeah, Hugo here looking to take full advantage, but he's got to be careful from Ginger behind. Ginger, a non-finisher, last time out, hasn't scored any points for his team so far, so he'll be looking for a bit of retribution here in Spain as he attacks turn 15 onwards now towards turn 16. DRS available next lap, of course, and the first time though you'll be able to use it is the run down towards turn 10. Jordan feels the need to defend there and try and break the slipstream from Hugo. Hugo is closing in, but not quite quickly enough as we make our way now down towards turn 1. Meanwhile there you see Dropia for the QVR car up the inside. Recon just about holds on there. I thought there was going to be contact between the two of them. I thought Dropia had overcommitted, but he just backed out at the vital time. Meanwhile, J. Cole has got to move down on Deneen. Meanwhile, Fruitful looking up the inside of his teammate there. He's got to be careful. The last thing you want to do in an event like this is make contact with your teammate. It's literally the first rule of motorsport. Meanwhile then, Toxic side by side with the PM car makes contact with Ginger, still on the inside but has to back out of it there. Just didn't quite get the traction out of turn 5 that he wanted and didn't get the run towards turn 7 either. Now making our way through turn 9 but clips the gravel there. Could be easy meat for someone behind, but it is Recon who is a bit of a distance behind, so he just gets away with that one. But he's got to be careful with this aggression, Toxic. He is a solid driver, but his aggression can get the better of him at times. Ginger running a little bit deep into turn 13, but you'll see there he'll get the exit and the run towards turn 14 to defend through there. And whilst there's not really many overtaking opportunities until turn 1 again, you still have to be alert.
Yeah, it's Hugo and Ginger into the pit lane, so they've gone for an early pit stop to try and get some clean air. Let's see if that works out for them. That's put Toxic in some clean air of himself. Let's see if he can catch Jordan, who's already caught onto the back of Kalsper.
Cohen Bly, meanwhile, on the left-hand side of the TTG car of Vaporon, making their way now down towards turn 1. Vaporon has the inside line and is able to defend from the QVR car, who, by the way, is on the medium tyres. He's the highest medium runner at this moment in time, but we've already seen in this series so far how running too long on the medium tyres can stab you in the back at times, and Cohen has got a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting there. Now, I'm wondering if that's at the chicane.
I believe it is, yeah, and he's running on the hards. He had to pit so early in the race, he's put the hard tyres on, and I believe he ran over the second part of the chicane and got an instant 10-second penalty for it, which is such a shame. He's going to move back down, he's going to probably stay at 20th at this point unless anyone retires.
Well, Kalsper then, I believe, still behind Jordan then. Well, actually, Jordan has got a move done. Yeah. He's now up to P2. Through turn 10 they went, and now Kalsper is down to P3. So many battles, Aiden, happening out on track. I'm not really sure where to look.
I know, I can't really keep up. There's so much happening already, but Jordan, after that mistake on lap 1, has got back into a rhythm again, and he's into the pit lane. But he's got back into a rhythm, and he's back past Kalsper again, but Kalsper stays out, and Toxic's in as well. Lewis also stays out as well, but look at the lead that Lewis has already at 4 seconds.
Well, Vaporon getting a little bit tail happy through the final corner, and this should be an easy move for Cohen Bly in the QVR car. In fact, he's able to take the racing line before the braking point, and the QVR car moves up a position, and Vaporon will be absolutely kicking himself there. He got a little bit tail happy through the final corner, gathered it up, but then Cohen was always going to be the favourable man, even with the DRS down towards turn 1. And he always had that move done. Meanwhile then, Thomas running very wide there. Got to keep it on the track. There is a mountain of dirt and marbles on the outside there. That's not where you want to be. And for Thomas then, for facing the wrong way on the first lap, currently running in P10, although the cars behind him now have already pitted, he's just got to try and make good with this clear air, or relatively clear air that he has.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we've hit that crossover period now where the mediums are starting to be stronger than the softs, so the people that have started on them. Note on the pit stops as well, Toxic has jumped Ginger in the pit stops, so he's managed to pull the overcut on Ginger and take away a position from him, and he's not too far off the back of Hugo as well. Jordan stays ahead of Hugo, so Jordan up into a net P2.
Absolutely good race from him so far as race leader. Lewis comes into the pits then, so too does Calspur. How about drivers behind him? Dropia is in, lots of people coming in, lots of the soft tyre runners coming in as well, so that makes sense. So that means then Cohen Bly is going to take the lead of this one, albeit briefly, but he does lead the way, and Baki is in second place. So currently right now QVR will be loving this sight. Both cars, or two of the cars I should say, running first and second, but unfortunately for them they still have to pit. There's only 4 cars left that have to make that mandatory stop, and that is Cohen, Baki, Jaco and Fruitful. At the moment then Lewis has rejoined, only 3.7 behind Fruitful and 3.2 ahead of one of his teammates in Jordan.
Yeah, and Calspur's really lost out in that. He's dropped a lot of time to Jordan and has actually dropped behind Hugo after that pit stop, so staying out the extra lap has not paid off for Calspur. He's coming under pressure from his teammate now.
Well, speaking of teammates, Calspur and Toxic making their way in towards turn 5 there. Now heading down the hill through turn 6. I wonder if there's going to be some sort of team orders here. Calspur is on 1 lap fresher tyres. Toxic there just getting a little bit wayward in towards 7 and 8 there. Now through turn 9 and down towards turn 10. It is a hill there, down the hill towards turn 10. So it can make braking just that little bit tougher. Calspur here will be looking to try and get on the back of Hugo here, who's only 1.1 behind Jordan at the moment, keeping him good company. Terra Racer and Cass, meanwhile, trying to work together. They swapped positions earlier on in the lap so that Terra Racer could get the move done. Verstappen, meanwhile, has Deneen in his sights, and he's got to be careful from Kaz behind, because that is a battle that could heat up for P16. Remember, all these positions right now are point-scoring positions. As long as you make it to the checkered flag, you will score points for your team. That is what's so important in this one. 11 laps to go, and we have a battle here. Well, the 2 PMP cars, I think, are working together. Yes, they do. Cass gets another way through in towards turn 1 and gets the move done. Meanwhile, then, this is a battle between, or against teams, I should say, as Verstappen now around the outside of Deneen into turn 2. Through turn 3 we go, and he's got the move done. Verstappen up the inside. Now Kaz is just taken full advantage of the wayward Deneen through turn 3 and takes full credit for that one. He is now up to P17.
Yeah, brilliant move from Kaz, able to capitalise on Deneen, who had a bit of a compromise run through turn 3 and ended up in the marbles. Just on board with the top 2 as well. Baki has caught his teammate Cohen. So that's going to be a little bit of a dilemma for this team, because they're not quite near enough to their pit stop window yet for them to not really battle. Is Cohen going to let Baki through? Because Baki does look like the faster of the 2 QVR cars at this point.
I wonder. Well, let's have a look then.
Close
down
enough.
The DRS straight. Yeah, it should be close enough. And I wonder here, Cohen might, yeah, you can see there, he slowed down, and that is going to be a team orders move then. So Baki will take the lead of this one as he makes his way down towards turn 1. But look at that, Lewis there has just set the fast lap race, 1:19.3 from the ILRT car then. Just scything into that lead that or Fruitful has. Meanwhile, Calspur gets the move done then in towards turn 1. He's now ahead of Hugo and moves up to P7. Meanwhile, then the livid car of Cohen had a moment there just entering turn 13. Didn't quite see what happened, but I'm assuming the back end just got away from him. Kaz, meanwhile, has got away past Verstappen. He now moves up to P16 and looks to charge ahead now. His next target, 2.1 seconds away from Vaporon. Meanwhile then, J. Cole still in 3rd place at the moment, but he is yet to stop. Could be under pressure from Fruitful, but Lewis as well. He'll be quick on his radar. They'll be quick over the radio to each other about teamwork and communication. But J. Cole has got to be careful here, because any false move and Fruitful will take full advantage to gain the position.
Absolutely, he's really got to be careful. Another battle we completely missed. Recon has passed Ginger for P10 somewhere. In all the chaos that we've been commentating over, Recon's actually passed Ginger, and Ginger's falling off the back of the group in front of him. So Ginger not having enough pace quite to keep up with the people that are in the net lead of this race at this moment, but he's still on for a good result so far. Obviously, any result at the moment is better than what happened for him in Australia, so fingers crossed he can keep it going and stick with Recon. He's got Dropja closing on him very quickly as Calspur now takes the fastest lap of the race. He looks much more confident on these medium tyres than he did on the softs, and he's already caught Jordan as well for a net P2. So Calspur much more confident on the harder set of tyres.
Well, we'll have to see how that pans out, because look at that, he is hounding Jordan now through turn 3. Ginger picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, heading now in towards turn 4. We'll have to see how the TTG car can battle away. Meanwhile, then a battle for third place. Fruitful is right on the back of J. Cole as we make our way through turn 6, onwards now towards turn 7 and 8, climbing the hill now. And Fruitful, that car looks so planted through turn 7 and 8 there. I wish I had his setup, because I need that setup. I need to be more stable through there. Fruitful now looking down the left hand side in towards turn 10. J. Cole made it as difficult as he possibly could. He's still there on the outside. He'll get the better traction through turn 11 and then through turn 12. Around the outside he'll have to go. Meanwhile, Lewis is looking to try and take full advantage of this one, and he gets the move done. Now he's got his teammate ahead of him in J. Cole, who should, well, I'm thinking, will just move aside, but he's got to be careful, because Fruitful will see that coming and try and take full advantage. J. Cole's got to be careful here. Let's see what Fruitful does then. DRS wide open into the slipstream of Lewis there. There you can see the team orders move has been done, but there is absolutely nothing J. Cole can do to stop that straight line speed of Fruitful, and Fruitful simply takes away that position.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for J. Cole. Kind of caught out by Fruitful there. I don't know whether Fruitful let Lewis through tactically or whether he was just caught on the outside, but that's smart driving from Fruitful to follow Lewis through on his teammate. Oh,
Ginger's in the wall at turn 2.
Oh, as we say, he's having such a good race. We've commentated cursing. He's spun around on the exit of turn 1. That's such a shame for Ginger. Hopefully he can keep it going and still score some points. As we've got someone slow in turn 3. I believe that's Cohen that's slow. Was Cohen made contact with him? Maybe Cohen's pitted from the front of the. He's from the front of the field. He's pitted and put the soft tyres on for the end of this race. I wonder whether there might have been a little bit of contact between them.
Well, I'm just having a look around here, but I can't really see anything at this moment in time. Ginger has retired from this race. So unfortunate for him. 2 DNFs here tonight. But yeah, I was just thinking turn 2, and at that angle is not a normal place for the back end to just lose it. If you do lose it, you normally head towards the left-hand side of the track there.
Yeah, absolutely. So he must have either completely spun on the inside of turn 1 and ended up powering himself into the wall, or he might have got some help. And I'm thinking Cohen was slow through turn 3, so I wonder whether he may have been involved in that. There was some grass on the side of his car, so he may have been off the road as Lewis sets another fast lap of the race.
Kalsper moves up to P3 ahead of Jordan with the help of some DRS.
Vaporon and Terror Racer as well. Vaporon easily passed. Yeah, Terror Racer had a terrible run through the last corner, and Vaporon breezes past down the straight. Look at that, Backy comes out. Backy comes out just ahead of Cass G for P9, and he was on the softs. Let's see what he can do towards the end of the race. Yeah,
let's see what he can do. Might have overdone the medium stint in Australia. I think he's learned from that lesson. I think he's picked the perfect time, to be honest with you, to get back out on a set of soft tyres. The only problem is he's 5.4 seconds behind one of his teammates in Dropia. But on the soft tyres compared to Dropia's mediums, and the fact that Dropia will soon be trying to battle Recon, that gap can be sized down, and it probably will, as Recon picks up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, Jordan's tapped the back of Kalsper, and around he goes.
Oh.
Kalsper is around, and he's collected Hugo as well, as Toxic tries to find his way through. There's damage to the front of Hugo. I wonder if there's damage to the front of Kalsper. I don't think so. Hugo's been really unlucky in that one. That was not his incident, but he's been caught up in it, and he will be absolutely, pardon the pun, livid with that one.
That's such a shame for Hugo. He kind of got caught out by Kalsper spinning, and Kalsper coming back across the track in all the chaos. He kind of got caught out by that, and Hugo's had to pit. That's such a shame from a possible P5 finish, as Kalsper's going back past his teammate by the looks of things. And Toxic's let him back through, but yeah, Kalsper managed to get away with that with no damage, and is only one place behind Jordan, so he's luckily got away with that one. Yeah, such a shame for Hugo, and such a shame for Livid Racing, who have got 3 of their cars in the bottom 3 places at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. From what looked like P2 at this moment in time, well, it could be a little bit worse than that heading towards the next round, but they've just got to keep their heads down for now. It is not over with 19 point scoring positions up for grabs. Just get it to the checker flag and focus on the next race. That's all you really can do when you've had such a trying and testing race as that, especially for Cohen as well. I mean, he's P19 at the moment on the hard tyres, but he's just trying to get to the end in order to score some points for his team. He knows how crucial that will be. Only the one retirement in Ginger at this moment in time. He retired on his own accord from the pause menu. Meanwhile, then, you can see from the back of Terror Racer, he's got a PMP car of Kaz behind him, but he's also got Cohen and Verstappen in the distance. As well as that, you've got J. Cole and Thomas at the background as well. So lots of cars looking to try and join this battle. Fruitful comes into the pit lane then. He will be putting on a set of soft tyres, but I wonder, with all the cars bunched together, how far back he will fall. Meanwhile, then Dropya on to the back of Recon. Then Recon defends to the inside line. Dropya with some DRS moves to the left-hand side of the track, and that is move done then for Dropya. And now he moves up to P5 by passing cars in the pit lane. Recon down to P6. And meanwhile then, they've stayed in formation, or have they? Because that is, who was that? That was Fruitful trying to go up the inside of Cohen there on brand new, fresh, soft tyres here. He's trying to predict the understeer moment from Cohen and move up the inside. That is smart driving as he makes his way now up towards turn 4. Up the inside he goes, and Cohen just doesn't have the grip to battle him there. And now Fruitful is up to P12, and he could side his way through this field.
Brilliant driving from Fruitful, really well read, and he's now got 2 PMP cars in front of him that should be easy pickings just based on the tyre grip. And another word as well on Baki, he has gained so much time on Dropja and Recon in front. He's half the gap in about a lap and a half. He's absolutely flying at the moment, and he could be on for a P5 finish at this rate. You never know, it could be higher because Dropja's not far off the back of the battle between Calsper and Toxic for P3 at this point.
Well, you can see Fruitful just off the exit of turn 11 there, or turn 10 I should say. With so much more grip, but you could see there Terror Racer just blocked him off there, just didn't give him the run, but he's got to be careful that he doesn't overrun these corners himself. Lewis still leads the way, by the way, by 7.8 seconds. Sometimes when you don't cover the race leader at all, it's normally a good sign, and it is a good sign for Lewis as well. Meanwhile, Fruitful there with some DRS on the back of Terror Racer. You can see Terror Racer just trying to defend on the right-hand side here as we make our way now down towards turn 1. You can see there's another move happening up ahead as well, and there's contact as well now in the background. Another TTG car finds the wrong way around the circuit, and J. Cole's involved as well. He smacked into the back of one of the other cars, and he's now out of the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I'm sure Vaporon had a spin there at turn 2. Again, not quite sure. I think he's got damage on the front wing. He's not. He's cruising around the circuit at this moment in time. Doesn't look like there's any damage, but of course that might be a little bit of winglet, and just a small amount, especially around a circuit like this, can mean the world.
Yeah, I think Vaporon was trying hard to defend against Cass, and Cass went on the outside. There wasn't quite enough room on the inside, and there was contact between Cass and Vaporon spun in the middle of the track, and there was not really anywhere for Cass to go. I believe it was Cass that hit into the side of him, and Fruitful's now past Cass into P9. Fruitful's going to be going on Cass for P8, Cass G on the straight for P8. So Fruitful has been incredibly lucky in all this and gained about 4 positions in 1 lap. But yeah, such a shame for Vaporon, who was on for a good top 10 result. He's ended up spinning. I think he's got away with no damage though, so if he continues on, he could benefit from other people's mistakes or penalties.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, then the other TTG cars of Calsper and Toxic, currently P3 and P4. Fruitful then now gets his way past Cass. He's absolutely on a charge, but now he's 5.4 behind Baki. I'm not sure he can close that up in 3 laps, but you know, I've been proven wrong before, and I'll be happily proven wrong again. Recon, meanwhile, trying to get onto the back of Dropya as he makes his way now in towards turn 5. A little bit of a lock up on the front left there for the Dutchman of Recon as he now makes his way through turn 6 and then onwards towards turn 7 and 8. And through turn 7 and 8, the weight and the balance of weight of the car just shifts around so abruptly that sometimes if the car's not set up properly, it will just bite and just spin around. It's quite horrible when you go through there with the wrong setup.
Absolutely, it can really throw you off guard, and it's the same with turn 9 as well. Obviously turn 9...
Oh, we got a car around! Terror Racer! Oh, he's just collected Vaporon there. I mean, Vaporon just panicked there, didn't know where to go, and Deneen there has had to take avoiding action of Terror Racer rejoining the track there. Terror Racer just dropped it all on his own through turn 10. I'm pretty sure he got onto the gravel there, and he was just a passenger from then on. But rejoining the track there, Deneen, quick reactions there from him to get away.
Recon's made him. Sorry to butt in as well. Recon's made a mistake and Baki's through, and he's up to P6. So Recon, who was ahead of Dropja, I think he might have run wide on the exit of the final corner, and Baki's gained a place from it.
Well, absolutely. Recon then in towards turn 3 now, and he'll be absolutely livid with himself for that one, for letting through a QBR car of Baki, who's on soft tyres as well. So Baki will take full advantage of that one. Just so you know, we do have a race leader. He is in this race, and it is Lewis. So there you go. That's it then. Jordan in second place with Kasper in third. Toxic then running in fourth place with Dropia in fifth. Baki in sixth with Recon seventh. We've got Deneen there, who I believe has just passed Vaporon then for P14, which he has. And in fact,
Vaporon's made a mistake.
Yeah, and Vaporon then into turn 4. Into the gravel, and he's lost a bit of front wing there as well, into the gravel at turn 5. He's hit something out there, but I'm not quite sure what. He's just got to try and limp that back to the pit lane and see if he can just get a new wing on and new tyres. But look at Cohen here, because at the moment on those hard tyres, okay, he spun out at lap 1, but he had the determination and the guts to just say, you know what, let's just get this to the end. It might not be a great race, but I've got points on hand here, and now he's up to P17 just by staying in this race. He's scoring more points than if he retired.
Exactly, that's the exact kind of determination you really need in one of these races. That it is so easy to just click that options button and retire from the race once you've had a bad race. It happens so often, but it's great from Cohen to see that fight inside him to stay out on the track and continue on and score as many points delivered as he can. Vaporon decided to stay out for the final lap. He's not pitting for a new front wing, which I think is relatively smart, because he's not really going to gain anything from pitting. Maybe a little bit slow on the last lap, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Unfortunately for Vaporon, it's all kind of fallen apart in these last 3 laps.
Well, Lewis, meanwhile, is on the final lap. He's just gone purple through Sector 2. He's trying to do a Sebastian Vettel of the early 2010s, but he now makes his way through the last couple of corners, through turn 13, onwards now towards 14 and 15, and then attacking that last corner of turn 16. It's going to be win 2 out of 2 in Mini League 1. Lewis comes across the line to take the win at the Spanish Grand Prix. A truly commanding drive. If the last race wasn't commanding enough, how about this one? Jordan then makes it another ILRT 1-2 with Kasper coming across the line in third place. Toxic actually moves up ahead of his teammate there, but Dropia moves ahead of both of them in the QVR car and finishes in third place. Baki then in 6th with Recon 7th. Fruitful crashes across the line to finish in 8th place. Kaz in 9th place with Cohen in 10th. Kaz now in 11th. There's carnage across the start-finish line as soon as the AIs take over. There's no correlation there. But actually, we've got a car going slowly. It's Thomas there, who's lost a bit of front wing once again as we make our way across the line there. As we'll go through the final orders in just a second. Well, Kaz is in 11th. Verstappen P12, Hugo in 13th with Thomas 14th, Deneen 15th, Terror Racer 16th, Cohen across the line in 17th, and Vaporon limping to the line in P18. But your race winner for the round 2 of Mini League 1, it's win 2 out of 2 for Lewis in the ILRT team.
Absolutely dominant, like you said. If the last one wasn't dominant enough, this one just utterly brilliant. And as you said, if the lead is never on screen, it's probably a good thing. And it absolutely was. He was just unbeatable in both races today, just utterly dominant. Great performance from him and from Jordan as well, despite the incident with Kasper. A really, really good result from Jordan in both races as well. And Kasper, a great recovery despite the spin later on in that race to come home. I believe he came home P5 in the end, and Dropja kind of ran a little bit of a lonely race. We didn't really commentate much over him. It was a bit uneventful for him, but he ended up finishing P3, so a great race for the QVR guy.
Absolutely, and your unofficial results then for the Spanish Grand Prix in the second round of Mini League 1. It is an ILRT 1-2 in Lewis and Jordan with Dropia in third, Toxic in fourth with Kasper in fifth, and Baki in sixth. Recon is in 7th with Fruitful in 8th, Cass in 9th, and Cohen Bly is in 10th place. Kaz in 11th, Verstappen 12th, Hugo 13th with Thomas 14th, Deneen in 15th, Terror Racer 16th, Vaporon in 17th, Cohen, J. Cole and Ginger there. Well, Cohen did make it to the line, but he had that 10 seconds worth of penalties, so he does finish in P18. But J. Cole and Ginger did not make it to the checker flag, therefore will not be scoring any points. But a good day for Lewis. He's got 2 wins out of 2. But remember, in Mini League 1, it is all about consistency with the points. We'll also be able to give you the points once they're worked out. I mean, I don't work them out because I'm terrible at Quick Maths. If we know Esports Mini League history, I don't do points anymore. We'll be here for about 15-20 minutes if that was the case. But if someone else does it, it's maximum 5 minutes. So we'll have a see how it all looks at the halfway stage. But Aiden, your first Mini League, your first time alongside me, I mean, you survived. So that's a good start.
I've not been eaten alive. Yeah, it's been really, really fun to commentate over. Really, really good racing in both races. It's great fun to watch so many good drivers go at it. And yeah, once again, I just have to say, really, really good job from Lewis. It's just unbelievable how fast that man is, and he just seems to get faster and faster with every race that goes by. So really, really good result from him, and from Dropcha as well. I didn't actually notice Dropcha started P14 on the grid and he ended up P3. So he snuck his way through that field that entire race and came home P3, which was a really, really good result for him.
Absolutely, and it's results like that get noticed, and we'll have to wait and see how that will all line up and all shape up in the next race. And of course, if you do want to tune in for the next race, it will be live on TTTV next week as we go to Mexico and Silverstone for the last remaining rounds of Esports Mini League 1 to see who will be on top. Can anybody stop ILRT? That will be the main question. We might as well, whilst we're waiting for the points to come in, if you do want to subscribe, make sure you do subscribe down below. We're just over 400 subscribers, so thank you all so much. And if you do enjoy the racing, don't forget tomorrow is TTL F1 League 1 with myself and Mr. James Head. So if you do want to tune in for that one, make sure you're here tomorrow at 7:55 GMT to watch some more great action. If you like the commentary team for tonight, then you can follow myself on Twitter. It's at KS McGinley. Good luck spelling that one. And Mr. Aiden, I believe you have a Twitter as well, do you?
I do, yes. My Twitter is at Aiden Carter 5. It's AIDAN, unlike EN. I've had a number of people spell my name wrong and not be able to find me on Twitter, thinking, your Twitter account doesn't exist. My name is spelled AIDAN, so Aiden Carter 5 on Twitter. You'll notice me definitely. I'm quite active on Twitter, so
it stands out.
I stand out, absolutely, yeah.
And don't forget as well, if you do want to follow the league as well, it is at Esports Mini on Twitter. So that was, I tell you what, that was a pretty good nights of racing, I have to say. I think there will be instances submitted to the steward, so of course we do have to say official, unofficial results. And just a quick reminder on our steward team for tonight, Mr. Andy Campbell is the head steward for tonight. We have Benjamin Gilchrist and Sondre Sorhag as our secondary stewards as well, and they'll be making all the calls and all the decisions on any of instance sent in. And what I will have to say is, I believe the process is that if you do want to submit an instant, you have to send it to your team leader, who then forwards it on. I think that's how it works. That's how it's normally worked for Mini League. But obviously, you might have been told different. So if you've been told different, go with that, because I'll definitely be wrong.
Yeah, don't take our word for it. We don't want to be responsible for anything going wrong. So,
well, mainly don't take my word. That's what I'm trying to get a point here, you know. But I mean, let's just talk about Lewis for a second there. We didn't see much of him in that second race, but all for good reason. He really did put on a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the downside of being such a dominant force in Formula One, is that you've just not really shown that often, and we don't really commentate over you that much. It's kind of a blessing and a curse, really, that he's that far out in front and we didn't really commentate over him. But yeah, two really, really dominant results. It just didn't look under threat in either race. So wonder if we'll get more of a challenge next time out in Mexico and Silverstone. Two really good tracks of racing as well. So fingers crossed we get a bit of a closer fight for the lead next time out.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the first Mini League that I've pronounced Lewis's name correctly, so I do apologise, Lewis. that's the last three Mini Leagues calling him Louis, but never mind. Anyway,
I'd do it as well.
We do have the points in then. Unofficially, ILRT are leading the way on 124, QVR in second on 84, Livid in third on 81, TTG in fourth on 74, and PMP are in fifth on 70 points. And on the grand scheme of things, Aidan, it is not that far away from each other whatsoever. One bad race and everyone's in with a shout.
Absolutely. ILRT have definitely built a good buffer to start off with, so in case of any incidents in the next two races, they have at least a little bit of a gap to fall back on. But for the other four teams, it's so close, 84 to 70 points covering second to fifth. So that's got all the drivers from all four of those teams are going to have to be on top of their game for both races next time out to make sure they score as many points as possible and not finish this championship in P5.
And remember, if you do want to find out what happens next week, well, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we go live next week at 2025 GMT. Next week, I forget that it runs a little bit later, Mini League. But yes, make sure you do subscribe to the channel so you are notified and you can join straight into the action when we go live next week. But thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you next week. In the meantime, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been Aiden Carter.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.